I'm Steve Johnson, News Director of theDove TV. Watch more videos from the Dove Newsroom at theDove.us.
Okay, we're back, and what an honor to have back with us today our good friend Erick Stakelbeck. He is host of the Watchman on the Dove TV, on the CBN television network as well. He's considered an authority, a sought-after authority on the Middle East and national security-related issues, and he's made it to the big time again. He's on the Dove. Hi, buddy.
Hey, very great to be with you. Always great to be here, my friend.
Yeah, good to see you. Hey, listen, a lot to talk about in a short time. Your take on the shooting in Tennessee, it looks like now, in fact, I'm just reading a news bulletin that apparently Mohammed Abalzi has had trips to Jordan and Yemen, so there may be a connection here.
Yeah, there may be. That's news to me, too. I didn't see that yet, Perry. That is very enlightening, although I have to say it was interesting to me that yesterday the mainstream media was kind of wringing its hands and saying, I wonder what the motivations could have been here for this horrible attack. Well, let me see. We have a young Muslim man, obviously devout, with a flowing Muslim beard. We have ISIS and other terror groups like Al-Qaeda have explicitly called for jihadi attacks against U.S. military targets. I wonder what his motivation was. But as you said, we are learning more now. A trip to Yemen, which is obviously an Al-Qaeda hotbed, a trip to Jordan. So was there an overseas connection? The Obama administration says no sign of any terrorist link overseas. But the thing is, Perry, you don't need that connection today. With the internet, you have young people throughout the West logging on and plugging into ISIS and its entire online propaganda campaign. So what you have is ISIS calling for young people in the West, in the United States, in Europe, to rise up. They're saying, hey, we'd love you to come to our caliphate here in Syria and Iraq, but you know what? If you can't make it here, the next best thing is to carry out jihad in your backyard. You can become a one-man jihad in the United States. That's exactly what we saw yesterday. You know, it doesn't take a brain surgeon, Perry, I've said it many times, to walk into a shopping mall, yell Allahu Akbar, and start firing. And I fear that this is the new normal in the West with this ISIS presence and these sympathizers that are here.
Erick, it seems we're becoming immune to this. I mean, hey, wait a minute. Whether it's directly attacked or attached or not, this is a terrorist attack in all description. Why aren't we outraged? Why don't we take this guy and make an example? I mean, we got to let the enemy know we're not going to tolerate this.
Right. Well, I think two things. Number one, 4 U.S. Marines are dead on American soil. I mean, I think people are missing that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Perry. This is, wow, 4 U.S. Marines killed, not in Iraq, in Afghanistan, here in Tennessee, in the Bible Belt on American soil by an Islamic terrorist. That's a big deal. Number two, President Obama, I don't believe he's called it, has he called it terrorism yet? I'm not sure. I believe the FBI director called it domestic terrorism. All President Obama said yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, was this was the work of a lone gunman. This was the work of an Islamic terrorist. It's clear. I mean, let's take the blinders off, but there should be more outrage, number one, among our government, obviously, and more candor about what we're up against. It's not going to change, I hate to say, Perry, before 2016, before President Obama leaves office. That's not going to change. This is how it's going to be, sadly. But the American people, you know, so many people in our great country are asleep right now. And yesterday was a wake-up call. How many wake-up calls do we need before we realize that we have an enemy in our midst? You know, the FBI director, Perry, said recently that in all 50 U.S. states, we have a network of ISIS supporters and sympathizers. That's the FBI director saying. It's not the Watchman Stakelbeck. It's our FBI director. So we have a serious problem. The barbarians are not just at the gates, they're inside the gates.
All right, Erick, again, I'm short on time today, and I apologize for that, but I want to get your quick response to the nuclear deal, or at least a proposed nuclear deal with Iran. Only the president and his team seem to be for it. Everybody else seems to be against it.
Yeah, you know, I think it's pretty telling. Everyone's against it. You know who's for it, though, Perry? You know who's come out and praised it? Vladimir Putin's Russia, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, Bashar Assad in Syria. They've all come out and publicly praised it. They think it's great. Pretty telling. Who opposes it? Israel and our other allies in the Middle East. But a few things here. Number one, this deal is a moral collapse on the part of the West and the United States in particular. It's an abdication of our position as the leader of the free world. I'll go so far to say, Perry, that for future generations, and not very far in the future, this deal will prove to be an abomination. That's how bad it is. It guarantees, number one, it guarantees that Iran will acquire a nuclear weapon if no one stops them. And that brings me to number two. This guarantees war. Because I can tell you, Israel, and in speaking to Israeli government officials over the past decade, on and off the record, there's no way, especially under the leadership of Benjamin Netanyahu, there is no way that Israel will allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. It's just not going to happen. So Israel, I believe, will take action eventually.
Former Ambassador John Bolton said, look, with or without the deal, Iran has now capabilities of making the bomb. So yes. I think we're facing the inevitable now.
We are. You know, Perry, you and I have discussed this on the Dove over the past few years. When's Israel going to act? I mean, like you say, it's kind of not if, but when, I think, at this point. I think the big question is, how much do the likes of Saudi Arabia actually help Israel? Israel's traditional enemies who don't recognize Israel's right to exist, but they're much more scared of a nuclear Iran than they are of Israel. We're very interesting. I mean, there's been rumors that Israel will be, you could use Saudi airspace and different things. We'll see. But Saudi Arabia right now is quaking in its boots. And what this is going to do, Perry, is it's going to spark a nuclear arms race in the world's most volatile region, the Middle East. You're going to see the Saudis try and acquire the bomb, the Turks, the Egyptians. President Obama literally just unleashed hell on a hellish place, the Middle East.
Eric, quickly, do you think, he said he's going to veto whatever the Congress does, but do you think Congress may have the momentum to override his veto?
You know, Perry, I hate to say it. I'm here in D.C. I don't think so. I think this is going to go through. I hope I'm wrong. I know a lot of folks were actively working against it here on Capitol Hill, but, man, I think this thing's going to go through. I hope I'm wrong, again. But if it goes through, you know what, even if it doesn't go through, the damage has been done. The fact that the West bowed to a tin pot dictatorship that hates America, that says all it is. It is further weakened our standing, and it's emboldened and empowered Iran to engage in even more bad activities, including sponsoring terror against Israel and America.
Last question. All over the internet today, the young boy, beheading somebody. I don't even know what to say.
This is ISIS. This is who they are, what they are. They're demonic, Perry. You know, it's a demonic movement. This is a movement, is ISIS, from the pit of hell. And it's a sign of the times. They're a movement whose time has come. We live in wicked, perilous times where everything that's evil is considered good and everything that's good is considered evil. ISIS is a product of these times. It's going to get worse. They continue to try and lower the bar, I should say, with new beheadings are almost getting boring for them now. So now they said, well, what can we do? We'll have a little child behead someone. You're going to see more horrific outrages, but believers just need to be steeled. Trust the Lord, trust in God's promises. Do not despair, because the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob sits on the throne. He's the Holy One of Israel. And the great thing is, we are on a winning team. We've read the book. We know how it ends. ErickStakelbeck.com. That's his website, ErickStakelbeck.com. Thank you, brother. I'm sorry for our short time today. We appreciate you. We pray for your protection. And thank God for your being such the warrior that you are. Look forward to having you back soon. Perry, thank you. Anytime. God bless.
God bless. We'll be right back.